Her secret sex tapes fueled my revenge. The air in our Silicon Valley mansion was thick with the hum of summer, the kind of night where the heat clings to your skin and the world feels too still. I'm Ryan Kessler, 38, a software engineer who'd turned sleepless nights into a seven-figure career at a tech giant in Palo Alto. My wife, Lena, 35, was the kind of woman men stared at and women envied. Tall, blonde, with a smile that could sell anything. She was an interior designer by trade, a social media queen with 500,000 followers hanging on her every post about our perfect life. Our daughter, Ava, 7, was the heart of it all. Big brown eyes, a laugh that lit up even my darkest days. We had the works. A sleek 4-bedroom house with glass walls overlooking the hills, a Tesla purring in the garage, and vacations to places like Santorini that made our Instagram glow. I thought I'd built something unbreakable. I was wrong. It hit me like a freight train that Thursday night. Lena was in the shower, her voice echoing through the hall as she sang some pop tune I didn't know, steam curling out from the cracked bathroom door. I'd left my laptop at the office after a late meeting, so I grabbed hers from the kitchen counter to fire off an email to my team about a bug in our latest release. The screen blinked on, and there it was, a minimized tab, glowing like a red flag in the corner. I clicked it, expecting one of her design mock-ups or a Pinterest board. Instead, my world imploded. A live stream window snapped into focus, the image grainy for a split second before sharpening into pure horror. Lena, my Lena, straddling a shirtless guy in what looked like a private gym. Her red lace bra peeked out from an unbuttoned blouse, her hands yanking at his shorts, her laugh, that laugh I'd loved for a decade, cutting through the speakers as she said, "Ryan won't ever suspect a thing. He's too busy coding his little programs." The guy smirked, pulling her closer, his hands sliding up her thighs, and the chat on the side erupted, "Hot as fuck! More. Poor bastard husband, lol." Hundreds of viewers, live right now, watching my wife cheat on me like it was a damn show. My breath caught, my chest tightening until I thought my ribs would crack. The email I'd meant to write vanished from my brain. The water shut off, and Lena stepped out, towel wrapped around her, hair dripping, still humming like nothing was wrong. "Hey, babe, you okay?" she asked, brushing her wet locks, her green eyes flicking to me with that easy confidence I'd once found irresistible. I forced my lips into a smile, though they trembled like a fault line ready to split. "Yeah, just work stuff," I managed, my voice a thin thread. She nodded, pecked my cheek with those lips that had just been on him, and padded upstairs, leaving me alone with the screen, the video replaying in my skull like a loop I couldn't kill. I didn't confront her. Not yet. My hands shook as I closed the tab, but the image stuck. My wife, my partner of 10 years, screwing another man on camera for strangers to drool over, laughing at me like I was nothing. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark, the AC's hum drowning my ragged breaths, and something broke inside me. Not just my heart, but a dam holding back a rage so primal it felt alive, clawing its way out. Morning came and I played the part. I kissed Ava goodbye as she ran to the school bus, her backpack bouncing, handed Lena her coffee with a steady hand, and drove to work like the world hadn't shifted under my feet. But it had. I couldn't focus. Lines of code blurred into nonsense. Meetings droned past in a fog. All I saw was her, him, that laugh. By noon, I locked my office door, pulled out my phone, and started digging. I knew her passwords. Years of trust had made her sloppy. Her iCloud was a treasure trove of betrayal. Texts, photos, a hidden Instagram under the name Lena Lux. There she was with him. Jake, a gym bro with a jawline like a model and a grin that screamed arrogance. Arms around her on my yacht, kissing her in a hotel room I didn't recognize, her body pressed against his in ways I'd thought were mine alone. The texts were a gut punch. "Ryan's my ATM, babe. Keep him busy while we cash out. Last night's vid made us $2,000. Let's do it again." Videos. They weren't just cheating, they were filming it, selling it, turning my life into their side hustle. My wife wasn't just unfaithful. She was a fucking porn star mocking me from the shadows. I drove home that night with my knuckles white on the steering wheel, my mind a battlefield. I loved her, God, I did. I remembered our first date. A dive diner in Palo Alto where she spilled coffee on my shirt and laughed until she cried. Her eyes sparkling with something I thought was forever. I remembered her sobbing when Ava was born, gripping my hand like I was her lifeline. How did that woman become this monster? The house was quiet when I walked in. Ava at a friend's sleepover. Lena sprawled on the couch, scrolling her phone, a glass of Pinot Noir in hand. Tough day? She asked, not looking up, her voice casual like she hadn't just ripped my soul apart. You could say that, I muttered, my throat tight. She glanced at me, frowning slightly. What's with you lately? I wanted to scream, to smash that glass and demand how she could do this. But I didn't. I smiled, a brittle, hollow thing, and said, just tired. She shrugged, went back to her phone, and I stood there, plotting her destruction, every fiber of me buzzing with a fury I could barely contain. For days, I watched her like a hawk, a predator stalking prey in my own home. She didn't even try to hide it anymore. Too cocky, too certain I was clueless. She'd leave for client meetings in dresses that hugged her curves like a second skin. Come back at midnight with lipstick smeared and a glow that wasn't from work. I hacked deeper. Bank statements showed withdrawals I hadn't signed off on. Tens of thousands siphoned to a joint account with Jake. I found their stash on a dark website. Dozens of videos, some shot in our garage. One where she propped Ava's toy unicorn on the workbench, giggling as Jake bent her over it, her moans mixing with his grunts. That shattered me. Not the sex, not the money. The fact that she'd drag our daughter's innocence into her sick game. I punched the wall, blood streaking down my hand, and hissed into the empty room. You're fucking done, Lena. She caught me a week later. I'd been sloppy, left my phone open to a screenshot of her and Jake on the yacht, her lips on his neck. She stormed into the kitchen, eyes blazing, Ava coloring at the table nearby. You're spying on me? She snarled, her voice low but sharp enough to cut glass. I stood, jaw tight, meeting her gaze. What's there to spy on, Lena? She faltered for a heartbeat, then laughed. A cold, vicious sound that echoed off the marble counters. Go ahead. Divorce me, she said, stepping closer, her breath hot on my face. I'll take everything, your money, this house, Ava. Jake's a real man, Ryan. You're just a pathetic nerd who can't satisfy me. Ava dropped her crayon, tears spilling down her cheeks. Mommy, why are you yelling? She whimpered. Lena ignored her, smirking at me like she'd already won. I scooped Ava into my arms, my voice steady despite the inferno in my chest. You'll regret saying that. She rolled her eyes, sauntering off, heels clicking, and I held my sobbing daughter, knowing this wasn't just a fight. It was a declaration of war. I didn't waste a second. I hired Tom, a PI with a grizzled face and a reputation for digging up the ugliest secrets. He tailed Lena, got me footage of her and Jake at dive motels, audio of her bragging to friends over cocktails. Ryan's a walking wallet, Jake's the real prize. I installed cameras everywhere. Living room, garage, Ava's playroom, catching every time she left our girl alone to chase her next paycheck. I synced her phone to a burner, recording calls where she and Jake plotted to drain our accounts and skip town. We'll take his millions and disappear. Fuck him and his kid. I wasn't just gathering evidence, I was forging a guillotine. Then came the curveball. A text from an unknown number hit my burner. I'm Jake's wife, Sarah. I've got dirt on Lena too. Meet me. I met her at a seedy bar in San Jose, short, wiry, with a USB in hand and rage in her dark eyes. She's been banging my husband for a year, Sarah spat, sliding the drive over. This is her begging him to film porn. Laughing about you and me. I played it. Lena's voice, slurring over wine. Ryan and Sarah are such losers. Perfect for each other. Sarah's nails dug into the table, leaving crescent marks. Let's bury them both, she said, her voice trembling with hate. I nodded, my own fury mirrored in her glare. Game fucking on. We planned like assassins. Sarah had screenshots of Lena wiring Jake cash from my accounts, embezzlement on top of everything else. I had videos of her leaving Ava alone for hours once overnight, while she and Jake partied at a club. Her laughter caught on tape as Ava cried for her on the nanny cam. I locked down our finances, transferred every dime to a new account, froze her cards, rerouted my paycheck to a trust she couldn't touch. Lena didn't notice, too busy planning her next shoot with Jake. Their voices dripping with greed as they fantasized about a beach house in Bali paid for with my money. I played the doting husband, cooked her favorite pasta, smiled at her lies about late nights with clients. All while Tom tracked Jake's car to a warehouse where they filmed, the air thick with the stench of betrayal. Sarah and I synchronized our moves. She'd hit Jake with divorce papers, I'd serve Lena, and we'd detonate their lives in one glorious explosion. The night I'd been waiting for came like a thunderclap. I threw a fake 10th anniversary party at our mansion. Caterers bustling, a string quartet playing Vivaldi, 50 guests from Lena's influencer circle sipping champagne. Even a local news crew I'd tipped off for a surprise announcement. Lena preened in a silver gown that shimmered like liquid metal, live streaming to her followers. Best husband ever, right? 10 years of bliss. I smirked behind her, counting the seconds, my pulse a war drum. At 9 p.m., the doorbell rang. A process server stepped in, his voice cutting through the music like a gunshot. Lena Kessler, you're served for divorce. Grounds: adultery, child neglect, and financial fraud. Gasps ripped through the crowd. Lena's phone clattered to the hardwood. Her face draining of color like a ghost had punched her soul out. "What the hell, Ryan?" she screeched, her voice cracking. But I wasn't done. Not even close. Sarah burst through the door, heels clicking like a death march, a USB raised like a loaded gun. "You forgot someone, Lena," she shouted, slamming it into the TV port. The screen flared to life. Lena and Jake, naked and tangled in our garage, her voice cackling. "Ryan's too dumb to check the cameras. Sarah's a nag who deserves this." The room detonated. Guests screamed. Phones whipped out to record. The news crew zoomed in on Lena's horrified face. I grabbed a mic, my voice calm as executioner's. She filmed her affair in my house, sold it for cash, and thought I'd fund her lover. "Watch this." I synced my phone to the TV, pulling up her secret live stream group. Thousands of perverts watching her latest performance live. Her moans now blasting through the mansion speakers. "This is who she really is," I said, as her followers saw her unmasked, her perfect facade crumbling in real time. Lena lunged for the remote, sobbing hysterically, "Turn it off, turn it off." But the damage was done. Her empire of lies was ash. Then Jake stormed in, sweaty, wild-eyed, yelling, "Lena, what the fuck's happening?" Sarah spun on him, slapping divorce papers into his chest with a crack that echoed. "You're next, you piece of shit," she roared. I played my ace. Audio of Jake sneering to a buddy. "Lena's just a cash cow. I'm dumping her ass soon." Lena's scream pierced the air like a banshee. She swung at Jake, nails raking his face, blood spurting from his nose as he stumbled back, crashing into a table of hors d'oeuvres. Guests shrieked, filming the chaos, phones flashing like a paparazzi swarm. The news crew caught every second. Lena's gown tearing at the seam, Jake's face a bloody mess, Sarah laughing like a madwoman, and me standing still, the eye of this glorious hurricane. "You wanted a real man?" I said to Lena, my voice low and lethal. "Look at him now." She collapsed, wailing, clawing at the floor as the crowd turned on her. Friends unfollowing her live on Instagram. The internet igniting with hashtag secret sex tapes trending nationwide. The fallout was a massacre. The court didn't hesitate. Full custody of Ava to me. Lena got supervised visits she never bothered showing up for, too busy drowning in her own ruin. Her design firm dropped her overnight after clients saw the videos. Her Instagram tanked, followers plummeting to a few thousand trolls who mocked her with memes of her garage romp. Jake's gym fired him for ethical violations. Sarah cleaned him out in their divorce, leaving him crashing on a friend's couch with nothing but a gym bag. Lena tried to crawl back, left voicemails sobbing, "I'm broke. Ryan, I've got nothing, help me." I didn't pick up. The house sold in a week. I took Ava to Seattle, A fresh start with gray skies and clean air. No echoes of her mother's filth. I launched a podcast, Betrayal Bites, telling my story raw and unfiltered, and it exploded. Millions of downloads, fans dubbing me the Revenge King. Ava started smiling again, drawing pictures of us under rainy clouds, and I felt alive. Not from the carnage I'd wrought, but from the peace I'd clawed back for us. Lena's last text came a month later. I'm sorry. I lost everything. Please. I stared at it, my thumb hovering over the reply button, then deleted it. She didn't lose everything. I took it, brick by brick, because she'd gambled with my life and rolled snake eyes. The internet still buzzes with our story. Clips of the party fight racking up views. Hashtag secret sex tapes, a hashtag etched into digital history. I don't revel in it. I survived. And Ava? She's my universe now, safe from the wreckage Lena built and I demolished. Here's the raw truth. Her secret sex tapes fueled my revenge, but they didn't break me. They lit the match and I turned her fire into my inferno. You've heard my war. What's yours? Ever had a betrayal rip you apart like this? Did you collapse under it? Or did you rise and rain hell? Drop your story below. Let's see who's got the spine to match this madness. Smash that like if I earned it, share if it shook you to the core, and join the chaos, because when they burn you, you don't just burn back. You obliterate everything they ever touched.